Good evening, butt munchers. Welcome to Tales of the Psieros. That was just a joke. It's because of the lighting. God, you people. Anyway, hello. Welcome to Psieros.Psychic.Signs channel with evil lighting that I am viciously trying to sort out. Oh, that's a bit better, a bit softer. Still dark, but softer. So, hello. Welcome to this channel. This channel is wobbly at the moment. Oh, right. Welcome to this channel. This video is going to be about my psychic experiences lately. Now, my channel at this point in time, which is a different point in time to the one where you're watching it, my point in time, not your point in time. Maybe we all carry around separate points of time. Maybe that's what we are in our essence, is just a speck of time floating in the ether of eternity. Could be. That might be, yeah, maybe that's what we are. Little specks of time. Anyway, that's if neither here nor there. Just here, only here. What am I saying? This video is here as a reference to you, because at this moment in time, it's not really, the channel is not really going anywhere, and I have a psychic prediction that YouTube is on the way out globally. It's 2018, it's April, and my continuing thoughts are YouTube is dead. YouTube is not the place anymore. YouTube is going down. YouTube is dead. YouTube is dead. YouTube is dead. That's the feeling I get, and sometimes these feelings mainly turn out to be right. Sometimes they mainly turn out to be right. Sometimes they turn out to be right. Mainly they turn out to be right. But sometimes I'm picking up the wrong thing. But usually I'm not picking up the wrong thing. So, I'm going to just have this channel for the moment to be a reference point of psychic information, because I don't think that people are discovering my channel, and hopefully there'll be some way of I can transport this channel to another dimension when YouTube dies, and we put this all the material here into another dimension. Ooh, that just moved. Did you see the change in the lighting? It's a psychic thing. So, let's talk about psychic powers. Okay. Well, I'm not going to talk about powers actually to begin with. I'm just going to talk about perception. So, psychic perception. When we think of powers, sometimes it's a little bit overblown and we get too excited about these things. And one thing I've noticed in the spiritual community, or the New Age community, or the psychic community in general, is what we call identification with form, which is where your sense of self, your identity, gets wrapped up in whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you're thinking, whatever it is you're feeling, the situations of your life. This is where you, in your essence, become embroiled in the dramas of the human aspects of life. And one of the primary teachings of spirituality is to remove your deepest essence, your deepest sense of self, from the dramas of the world, and actually to enter into the dramas of the world in a conscious way that no longer makes everything a whole big pile of suffering. So, in psychic and spiritual communities, what we sometimes get with regards to psychic powers is a big identification with form, which means we get really overexcited about psychic powers and we value them very highly, and that creates this fear and desire to attain them, as though it's going to bring you something, salvation or something, as though it's going to deliver you from your pain. And it's not really the case. Like, people are very obsessed in psychic communities with predicting the future, which usually is to predict a positive future for oneself, or to, if you're going to predict a negative future, like how am I going to die, or is something bad going to happen, we're predicting that so we can avoid it, right? We don't want to die. We don't want to get into pain. We want to know tragedies if they're coming in advance so that we can try and prepare ourselves for them and scare the shit out of ourselves before them. And there's also a sense that we are living in the mind and the heart and the drama of the mind and the heart. So it's like the whole psychic community is like an identification with the mind and the heart still, and with events. So psychic powers, as I use them and as I understand them, are something to be fascinated by, but not to be like completely overwhelmed with and to be wrapped up in terms of, don't let them and what they say and what they can achieve and what they can do, don't let them be where you feel yourself to exist primarily. You feel yourself to exist in the depths of your being. And then psychic powers, predictions, learnings, experiments, understandings, insights, whatever. All this is just stuff. Like, of the same kind of importance as making a cup of tea, as having a wank, as having a shower, as giving birth, all of form. The whole world of the manifested has a sensation that it's just life. It's just part of life. Everything in life is just part of life. And some things are more intense parts of life, and some things are less intense. And, so there's a level of remove from all events and all sensations and all mental activity. There's the sense that there's part of me that goes beyond all that and is aware of all that. So with the psychic stuff, we can quite easily get identified into, for example, being a psychic person, or getting some kind of sense of ego aggrandizement or inflation. We feel ourselves to be a bigger, more important person in some way if we have psychic powers, or if we don't have them. So we can rally against psychic powers and feel important that we have the truth and the other people don't have the truth. And then we could do the same if we did have psychic powers, like, I now have the truth. I now am the truth. I now know the way. I now have all these powers. I am this big person that is better than other people because of my new skills. Something like that. The way that anyone can get really excited about anything they do, like, oh, I'm a great footballer, I'm better than you, and just start bickering about that. Yeah, so the key with this psychic stuff is to detach it from your identity. So have it be something that you do for fun, for enjoyment, for pleasure, for interest, and to not get yourself hooked into an emotional drama using psychic predictions and psychic learnings as a hook to just dramatize and traumatize yourself. I've seen people get so wound up and cause themselves so much suffering because they hook into these ideas of future and past and spiritual energies that are potentially harming them, and entities, and ghosts and poltergeists And I'm not denying that they're real. I personally experience psychic and spiritual and entity type phenomena quite often, and it's quite annoying. But I but I don't create a self out of that. So when you start creating an image or some kind of fixed perception of you as a self about psychic phenomena, like I could say, I am a psychic person now, I start to play the role of a psychic, I start to create an ego facade of the psychic person. Make sense? Do you see what I'm getting at here? It's to know yourself beyond all this stuff, to enter into all this stuff and to enjoy it and do stuff with it and engage with life and be part of life, be active in life, and to go through the ups and downs of life, but to know that deeper down there's some part of you that is safe, and some part of you that is already secure, and some part of you that is whole and steady and unchanging. And I was going to say fixed then. It kind of is fixed, but I mean fixed in the sense of a permanency, and that it's undefined as well. It's an undefined thing. It's not like I am a man and that is fixed. It's like, no, there is a something, you can't define it, but it's a fixed, ongoing, continuous, present continuous self that is not got qualities associated with it. It doesn't have imagery associated with it. It doesn't have thoughts associated with it. The self is an abiding principle, if you like. It's just something that abides through and experiences all of the stuff, all this gunk of life, the joys, the ups, the downs, the bliss, the sorrow, the despair. The self is that continuous observing, feeling, sensing, living principle, traveling through life. Okay, so back to the psychic stuff. So I just wanted to get that as our, it's kind of our prerequisite when we speak about this thing, like this kind of stuff. It's basically, don't take it too seriously, It's a bit like the football results. There are people who watch football and they really take it every tiny little number and every tiny little move and every tiny little goal and every tiny little points on the aggregate to mean so much, because it's this tiny little number on this tiny little paper means their whole day could be ruined if, Liverpool doesn't beat Everton. I don't know. Are those teams anymore? Yeah. And when you've got that kind of serious attachment to the events of life, if you're a football fan, the ups and downs of this, people always come to me and say stuff like, oh, I have a terrible day because Chelsea lost. I'm thinking, that's ruined your day. I was stabbed. That ruined my day. It's like, get some perspective on this. But if you're a psychic, you could have predicted the older Liverpool thing. Then you could have just been like prepared for it in advance. Sorry, you could have the Chelsea, if they were going to lose, you could have prepared for that in advance using your psychic powers, and then you could have gone around and boasted about how you knew that Chelsea were going to lose anyway, so your day was fine. So psychic powers can help you. Yeah, let's not take it too seriously, basically. Because taking things seriously means you're attaching too much importance to one thing over everything else, to an emotional point where you're suffering when something goes against your wishes or against your hopes and expectations. All of a sudden you realize, I really am out of control and I feel this pain that I didn't realize was there. So yeah. So that's like football results. I'm trying to say to you, and then look at the football results as a detached observer from the outside, and you're going, does it matter which one's the best team? Who should win? Is it a big deal? Oh, this one seems to be doing very well. Good for them. Um, that's the detached way, and then people who are really invested in the whole drama of it all are like, "Ah," and that can be fun as well. The drama aspects of life can be fun as well, but only if at the end of it all you realize the key line: it's just a game. And that's the same with life. If you realize this is just a game, just a ride, just a temporary fixture, a temporary occurrence in the consciousness of the universe, that your life is basically like that. So the ups and downs, 10 days after some tragedy occurs, you go, oh, I forgot about that tragedy actually. Whoops. Oh yeah. Oh well, that's gone. That's gone. I'll tell you what, best psychic prediction I can give you. You will die at some point. You will die. Right, now we've got that out of the way. Everything in between now and that point in which you die, does it matter that much? The ultimate one people really want to know, when am I going to die? How am I going to die? Will I be rich? Will I be famous? Will I get sex? Will I reach enlightenment? Tell me, am I important in the world? Does God love me? Stuff like this. Can I speak to my dead person, my dead friend, my dead cat, my dead relative? Go get some counselling and do some grief work. Sorry. But, can I use psychic powers to grow myself a new foot? No. Not as of yet. Anyway. So yeah, I just want to, this is a preface, before the face. The preface is, let's just treat this as a little fun thing we do, like playing tiddlywinks, right? But we can really have fun with it. We can get passionate about it, as long as at the end of the day we go, yeah, that's just a little thing. That was fun. That was nice. That was a fulfilling experience. Rather than, I saw my psychic last week and she says that I've got these traits of a Sagittarius, and that means that because I've got these traits of a Sagittarius, I'm going to live a long and happy and healthy life. But then my other one that I went to, the Chinese bloke, he said all my meridians are out of line. So what? How come I can't be? I want to be a Sagittarius, but my meridians are out of line. I've got the right, and the sun's in retrograde, and the Mercury's in reverse orbit, and it all not making any sense. And I keep trying to read my horoscope, but sometimes it doesn't say what I thought it was going to say, and nothing seems to match up. But then sometimes it really does match up, and I'm like, wow, yeah, I love these horoscopes, and it really means something to me so strongly, and I believe in it, and I believe in it. And do you believe in it? No, I don't believe in it. Why don't you believe in it? You're wrong and I'm right. So yeah, the point is, it's like let's use psychic powers, if anything, to help us to detach from the sense of being destroyed by the form of the world, destroyed by the events of the world, destroyed by the emotions of the world, destroyed by our brains. Let's maybe use the psychic channel, the psychic area, as a way that we can actually escape the drama of the world and have a bit more fun in life. Oh no, but you're not supposed to escape life. I'll do what I like. Pardon me, that's a fart. See? Anyway, yeah, so that's the preface. Let's just be a little bit more light-hearted about the old psychic thing, right? Yeah? Everyone's always trying to disprove psychics as well. You people have got far too much time on your hands. Go out and do something more productive. Stop. People who spend their whole lives trying to disprove other people is just ridiculous. make something else, do something, grow a garden, plant trees, do something better. What is the purpose of this? How is this helpful? We're saving people from the entrapments of the mind. Okay, fine. Anyway, so that's the preface, which is, let's just have a bit of fun with psychic powers. Let's not get overly kind of, people are always like, they attach so much importance to these things, as though, let's take synchronicities for one example. Okay, I used to be really into synchronicities, and I notice that other people tend to be really into synchronicities. But what what happens when you're in that state of attachment to future and avoiding of pain? You're trying to get to the future that gets you out of a painful situation now. So you're looking for synchronicities to sort of fulfill your destiny, or they mean something about the world is watching us, as in, God is listening to us and they're fulfilling our desires or whatever. Or it's just some mystical significance of the universe, whatever. Fine. But do you hear that kind of over melodrama to this whole synchronicity thing? It is a phenomenon, yes, it happens a lot. But then notice the emotional roller coaster that goes on when you have synchronicities. Don't they seem to suggest to you that you're some fabulous being because they're all happening to you? Oh, I'm seeing 1111. Oh, I'm so important because 1111 keeps happening to me. I keep seeing 1111, right? And it's like, oh, and then it brings up hope, and then it brings up fear, and it brings up confusion. Do you see all these, like, how there's this kind of psychic over attachment to the psychic and the mystical elements of life can still create this drama in you? So as I said, I've met quite a few people from the spiritual community who get very excited about these things, and I don't mean excited in a positive way. They get excited in a way that is like a very victimized way. So you've got people worrying about dark energies, and people worried that if they do this practice it might encourage negative entities to come to them, and if they do this practice then it might go against their health. And so there's all this kind of fear around psychic powers as well, and that obviously is not a nice, pleasant state to be in. It's not an enjoyable way to live. So on the one hand, you've got your person who is very into psychic powers and very attached to it all and very kind of engaged with it all and embroiled, I would say, in the ideas of the psychic community. And at the same time, they've created this massive fear structure in their mind about the very thing that they're interested in. So they're kind of gorging on this interest that brings them fear at the same time. So it's just bizarre. So they're keeping themselves in suffering basically by getting so much investing their sense of emotional safety, if you like, in this psychic thing, which obviously, as a changeable phenomena, if you invest your sense of emotional self, your emotionalized sense of self, if you invest that in any changeable phenomena without retaining your core sense of emotional self, or just your core deepest sense of self, if you invest into changeable phenomena, then when the phenomena change, your sense of emotionalized self breaks and hurts and turns to pain and feels like suffering, and you do not have a pleasant experience of life. And you don't want to suffer. I tried to think ages ago, why is suffering bad? Well, it just hurts and no one likes it. What's so wrong about suffering? It hurts. It's like the most obvious thing. You don't want it to be there. So, we're going to just have a little bit of fun. Psychic perceptions. I'll give you one little bit now because the video's already gone on for ages. Let's talk about actual something psychic. So, Did you know, factoid, you can channel the spirit of anyone and anything, living or dead or animal, mineral, vegetable. You can channel the spirit of any sort of self-contained entity, right? So I could channel the spirit of this glass, should I want to. You know, I'm not sure I would want to. Maybe I should now that I've said it. No. And there is an element of imagination to that, but there's an element of truth to it as well, because this is what it is. We are all one. As consciousness, we all are the same being, just rippling in different flavors and different forms. Okay, so this glass, at the deepest level, is just an expression of consciousness. An expression of my consciousness right now, but an expression of consciousness as a whole. And so, if I was to channel the spirit of this, I'm essentially, at the deepest level, channeling myself. I am the glass. But I can speak as the glass. Hello! My name is Craft Beer for the People by Brewdog, 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 Brewdog. Channeling a glass. Don't break me, please don't break me, please don't break me. I am firm and strong, but please don't break me. I like to be the way I am. Sometimes people want to break me. Fill me, fill me, fill me, fill me, give me love in the form of liquids. Okay, so you can channel people, things, and all you're really doing when you're channeling someone or something, or an idea even, you can channel ideas, you can channel the spirit of, like, the spirit of a philosophy, the spirit of a film, the spirit of a certain musical genre. You're really just channeling an aspect of yourself. You're channeling a manifestation of yourself. More on that later. Cliffhanger.